Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to show you how to construct a trade setup. I'm going to break down what a trade setup is and proper steps to a great trade setup. Now, before you guys take on any trade, you should have a solid setup, right? You should have an idea behind the setup and why you're buying, why you're shorting, why you're even taking on the trade. So I'm going to walk you through step by step on how to have a proper trade setup. So what's the first step? The first step on any trade setup or any great trade setup is we need something called a trigger. And the reason I'm breaking this down now is because, like I said before, I want you to have the full board in front of you. And then as we progress with more and more videos, I want to start putting in pieces. So right now, I want you to see how we're going to trade, how we're going to create trade setups. And then as we progress and we start learning more and more pieces, I want you to start implementing them into your trade setup. So the first thing we need is a trigger point. What is a trigger point? So a trigger point could be anything from news or earnings. It could be anything from price action. It can be anything from market sentiment. So looking at a trigger point, right, any one of these might give us a trigger point where it's telling us to either be aware or to watch the stock. So looking at these trigger points might tell us, hey, this is a stock that you should watch. This should be on your focus list. This is a stock that you should pay attention to. Right? So we get a trigger point. Let's say a company has phenomenal earnings. Let's say a company announces a new contract. Let's say a company is surrounded by a lot of good news or even bad news. That gives us a trigger point and makes us aware of that stock. Next, before we move forward, we need a hypothesis. We need to construct a trade setup. We need to say, I think the stock will do X, Y, and Z because of ABC. Right? This is very important. Now, I don't want you guys to ever say, I think the stock is going to go up 100% or I think the stock is going to go down 100%. Eliminate that. What we're going to say or how we're going to construct our trade setups is if stock ABC can break $10, right? If it can break this level, and I'm going to go over price action in the upcoming lessons and break down more and more pieces. If stock ABC can break $10 and if it can do X, Y, and Z, and I'm going to leave X, Y, and Z blank for now just so we can fill in the pieces later. If it can do X, Y, and Z, or if it does X, Y, and Z, I will then buy, right? And if what X, Y, and Z is going to show me, it's going to show me that the stock now has a high probability of going up, right? A high probability. If it does X, Y, and Z, it does not mean that for 100% this will actually go up. It means that I may have a higher probability, and this is something that, once again, I want you to cement into your head so you can understand the proper way of creating a setup and the proper way of trading, right? Once you have your hypothesis, you need to go to your risk analysis. You need to find your entry point, your stop loss, your profit target, and position size. I'm going to break all of this down in the risk analysis section. But before you take on any trade, you should know where you want to buy. You should know where you want to exit if you're wrong. You should know where you want to take profits if it hits your profit target. You should have something called position sizing. That's part of risk management, and I will break that down once we get to it. So your risk analysis is the third step. After you do your risk management, after you have an entry point, after you have a stop point, after you have a profit target, after you do your risk analysis and everything looks good, we then go to our final step, execution. We go and we execute the trade. We execute and we have an exit price, right? So once again, we start from a trigger point. This is where we become aware of the stock, right? That, hey, we think the stock is going to go up or down because of this news, because of that setup, whatever the case is. We then go to our hypothesis. If this stock on price action, let's say good news comes out, right? Let's say good news comes out. Now, when we go to our hypothesis, we can say if the stock breaks $10 or goes above $10, I will then buy. If I buy at 10, where is my stop? Where am I looking to exit if I'm wrong? Where am I taking profits? What is my risk management plan on the trade? If all three are aligned, we then go to execution. We execute the trade and we exit. And that's where managing the trade kicks in, which is a very, very tough task as well. Once again, I'm showing you this so you have a proper idea on how we're gonna trade, how we're gonna construct things together. As we progress, we're gonna start putting more and more pieces in this puzzle.